Hello, my sexy muffins, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we are doing a what-if-like scenario from the SCP Explain video. If Abel went into Clockworks and was in a different of the multiverse, was in a different multiverse. But in this multiverse, he also continued to be a part of Pandora's box and did not leave it and destroy it and do that, but continued. But after he failed by kill SCP-682 in one of his breaches and pacify him, he got very angry because the Foundation threw him aside after one falter, and Abel did not like that. So he went to the Clockworks and ended up, which is SCP-914, that improves or limits something less of what its value is when you put it in there. And he was put to very fine, and this improves him greatly. I suggest you watch the video before watching this because you will understand it fully. He is Yandere for Jack Bright in this, but when he goes into the SCP-914, he ends up being very, 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 very much very dangerous and very dangerous and very more obsessed with Jack Bright than ever before, where it now points him to snapping, where he wants to have a perfect world with Jack Bright and maybe even repopulate it. This may be a mini-series, it might be a one-off. We will see how it goes in the first video and such. And we are going to continue with that. Anyways, let's go with this. Let's do this. And for the people who do not know, SCP-076-2 is Abel, and he is basically one of the sons of Adam and Eve in the SCP universe, and is a mortal warrior who, when he wakes up from his stone sarcophagus, basically, ends up very, very much in a homicidal state, but was able to be tamed by the Foundation in this universe to work for them as employment. And that's why I got very angry, because he was thrown aside after he faltered only once out of thousands of battles. So honestly, his rage is justified, and the artwork is again by Gav Emp, and she's one of my patrons, my first patron actually, and she obviously gets the videos and stuff prioritized. That's why it's getting recorded right away, and also because I love the idea. Anyways, I'm rambling now, so on to the disclaimers. Disclaimer: Abel is not Yandere for not Clough, but for Jack Bright in canon. This is just for fun, but somewhere in the multiverse, it could be very likely. So this could be a multiverse on itself, away from the universe, because the multiverse is infinite, limitless, and all that stuff, and that could be anything and everything. So very well that Abel could be Yandere for Jack Bright, and they could end up being a couple in this scenario. And yes, and they are thinking of repopulating the world in this, possibly. Maybe in a mini-series this will be. Who knows? Anyways, first off is we're going to be doing it. Back to the disclaimer. Disclaimer, he is not Yandere in the main universe canon, but this is just for fun and not to be taken serious at all. Simping and shipping characters is fine, as long as you are not illegal or gross about it, and that you separate headcanon from canon and fiction from reality. Yanderes are not ideal partners to have, and all that jazz. Anyways, remember, the multiverse is large, so this is very possible that it could be somewhere in the multiverse. Anyways, let's do this. Abel was enraged. Not only did the Foundation throw him aside, but they were going to keep him in containment for as long as they saw necessary. He was pissed. Even more so pissed, he would not be able to catch glimpses of Jack Bright. Those were his secret pleasure that the Foundation did not even know about. Having that taken away from him made him enraged. So he went down to hunt down the Clockworks, killing and massacring thousands of Foundation staff everywhere he went, to each facility. Finally, he found the Clockworks, and he went inside, setting it for very fine, and going in. He comes out winged and with the ability to fly at supersonic speeds. But what and able to form any weapon that he's ever seen or imagined into form, even not just his swords anymore. He was all powerful, but more so, he was on a mission now. He had one goal in mind because the Clockwork's SCP 914 ended up making him even more in love with Jack Bright and obsessed. And when he became obsessed to this point, he knew he wanted to repopulate the world and make it into the glory of his name and his future children with Jack Bright. There is the gender warping stone SCP 113, and of course, Abel will keep some warriors alive, both in male and female bodies, so that Jack Bright can take over their bodies slowly so they can repopulate the world in the image that he sees fit. Because Jack Bright could put his stone on them and then they wouldn't be related. That is his goal. But only who Abel sees fit. They would have to meet his criteria to carry on the genes. Women would be chosen for this very purpose. Anyways, he has started to massacre the world, finding these women and keeping them in containment at old sites that had been abandoned. They have been taken care of course, by a few of the SCPs that agreed to work for Abel, keeping the women taken care of and well sorted for when Jack would take over their bodies. Of course, Jack was worried. He saw the signs that Abel was coming after him. Abel, of course, hated Jack Bright, and he knew that Jack Bright was going to kill him eventually. Finally, when almost 90% of the world was wiped out from the face of the planet, and it was almost a dead, destitute world, only a handful of people being left allowed to survive who swore their loyalty to Abel. Now it was just Abel hunting down Jack Bright. Jack Bright went into hiding. He could not risk Abel finding him. The Foundation had fall. The secret organizations had fall. There was nowhere left for him to hide. He was a wanted man. He lived on the streets, hiding from Abel and doing his best not to be found by the mad man. Unfortunately, Abel hunted him down and was a great warrior now, and was faster and stronger than Jack could ever be. Eventually, he did find him, and he grabbed him and kissed him. Jack hit against his chest in shock, trying to get away from him, but he did not stop. Jack finally pulls away, Abel more likely letting him pull away, and smirks down at him. "You gave me quite a run for my money," he says. Is that what you humans used to say?" he says, holding Jack's chin in his hand, looking deep into his eyes. "If you're just going to kill me, do it already," Jack says, panting for air as the kiss was very intense. "Why would I kill you now, darling? Jack, you are mine, and I'm going to make you perfect." Jack did not know what Abel was implying, but Abel picked him up and took him back to one of the foundations. The foundation that had the women there for various purposes and even more purposes. The Clockworks. Jack did not know what Abel was up to, but he knew something was serious. Abel throws Jack onto a bed in a large room that was lavish and as if it was a throne room, his wings folded in behind his back. Jack gets himself on the bed and glares at Abel. "Who the hell do you think you are? Some type of king?" "Yes," Abel says to Jack. "I am going to rebuild this world in an image of true warriors, and you are going to help me. If you didn't catch it, I'm kind of a male," Jack says. "Oh, but that can be easily changed. There's SCPs that can do gender changes as the gender changes swap warp and stone. And there's also women that your little amulet can take over." Of course, That will have to wait for later. I have something to test with you. He grabbed Jack and dragged him to a different room. There, he took Jack and had him forced into the clockworks, putting it on very fine. If he was correct about this, he knew what would happen. And it did. Jack came out. His amulet is gone, but on his chest, the amulet was burned into his skin, covering his chest. He was now immortal, just like Abel. If his body died, the next physical form to touch him would get this tattooed mark on their chest and pass it on. And then he will take on the next person and the next person. Abel smirks at this, but right now, Jack was immortal. He would not age. He would not grow sick. He was immortal, and the gender warping stone would help him repopulate his children, and the women and men he has kept will help repopulate for his children to be with them, and so on and so forth with the generations. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of men and women left to breed to create a new world order, all in hail of Abel. Jack was disgusted with Abel, but his heart still yearned for him. He hated to admit he had a crush on the madman that now ruled the world. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed that. I might make this a mini series of the conquest of Abel courting Jack and Jack trying to get away from him, both of them immortal now, and a new world order where Abel is basically king warrior of everything and is going to have a family with Jack, whether he likes it or not. With consent, of course. That's why there's the courting. He's not going to force Jack into anything intimately, obviously. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed this. And thank you, Gav, for suggesting. I had a great time doing this. And just wanted to get the base of what was going on out, so there was a lot of narration. But there will be more. I am thinking of a whole kind of kingdom of Abel being king and Jack as his consort / queen, where he has to basically be submitted to Abel and give him an offspring. And if the gender warping stone is put in with a Jack a second time, it could create male pregnancy. Who knows? Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed this. And if you would like to see more of this, tell me you want to see a miniseries and I will be able to do it in all that goodness, graciousness. And I hope that you all enjoyed and stay sexy, all my sexy muffins. Bye-bye. Oh, wait. Thank you, Gav, for being my first patron and the one to suggest this. Thank you very much, Gav. You are fabulous. And thank you, Wicked Brony, for being my second patron. You are just as fabulous. Thank you. And I hope that you all enjoyed and stay sexy, all my sexy muffins. Bye-bye.